TUMO's education philosophy is based on something we call walkway pedagogy, which is based on the idea that of the question, what would schools look like if students could walk away, if they were not obliged by law or by their parents to go to school? What would it take to make them come back and not walk away, but at the same time achieve amazing learning outcomes, right? And so that leads to a number of principles that we've developed over time, things like hyper-personalization, making each learner's learning plan completely unique and different.
No classroom
setting. No classroom setting, no class cohort. So having ages mixed together, but also students interacting in different groups at different times. Having alone time, being able to study autonomously or do activities autonomously. Hands-on activities. So the number of principles we've developed which make up this educational approach that we use now. Underlying this approach to education is the idea of learning efficiency, which is kind of a learner's rights issue. We feel learners have the right to acquire knowledge and skills and know-how that are very deep and transferable in the shortest amount of time possible. So it's not enough to say we made them sit in the classroom for a year and they learned to do this kind of arithmetic. No, students have a right to a kind of instructional design that will help them acquire these skills they want to acquire in a shorter amount of time, and to walk away if they don't see the value associated with what we're asking them to commit to.
And again, learner-centered is the focus here. Whatever is done is as if you are changing your perspective or location, and you're thinking from that person's perspective and their interest.
Their aspirations.
Exactly, their interest. What do you have to do so that their learning is maximized, they're enjoying their learning, they're absorbing as much as possible, and they're getting ready for the brightest futures that you can imagine for themselves. So it's like the camera, as if the camera is changing
your points
location.
From the teenager's perspective. We want them to be learning because they want to, not because they have to. And we always like to say teenagers may hate to study, but they love to learn, it turns out.
I always have the impression that we're never there. And as soon as we decide something and we plan something and we're getting closer to our goal, that goal is getting away from us because we're constantly creating content. We're constantly thinking about how to make this, I don't want to call it product, but how to make this experience even better than ever. So we're never satisfied. And yes, of course, it's giving, it has high impact and it's very good, but I believe that we keeping this pace of constantly creating is the value of TUMO.
Yeah, and the fields that we work with are constantly changing, and it doesn't make sense to be too focused on teaching specific tools or kind of creating a market-ready students, let's say, because in fact the market and the jobs that they would be hoping to have, or the careers they want to have when they're in the job market, will be so different from what they are today. So in the same spirit, we want to always be evolving ourselves, and both in terms of our software solutions, our content, and the way we structure the experience, that's always evolving, and it has to by definition. And these days with the advent of AI, we're very excited. It gives us all kinds of additional possibilities to give efficient, effective learning, but it also kind of vindicates this idea that you shouldn't be teaching to a very specific skill set, which may not be AI-proof, right? We should be focusing on the fundamentals. That's what we've been doing, and we think it's even more important now than ever.